If you are not a US citizen, don't come to this country.
Do not travel to the US right now. This is literally what every single video on my For You page is telling me to.
Alright people, this is just a heads up. Those of you thinking, hey, we'll just swing by the US and take a look at the Grand Canyon, or I don't know, I've got a conference in DC, or I'm going to run over to California and get me some new tech ideas. Do not come.
Do not travel to America. Do not travel to America for the next 4 years.
The British government has put out an advisory notice against visiting the United States right now.
Visiting the United States has long been considered a bucket list experience, whether for business, study, or tourism. But that perception is shifting, and fast. A wave of recent incidents involving tourists and students being detained, deported, or even shackled by U.S. immigration authorities has sparked an outcry and a reevaluation of the risks involved in traveling to the country. From a Welsh artist mistakenly entering on the wrong visa, to Canadian and German nationals held in detention centers for weeks, these are not isolated cases. What's more concerning is that these travelers were not undocumented migrants.
I have some breaking immigration news that I never imagined would be possible. European countries and Canada just issued a travel warning for the United States. Countries like Germany, Canada, Finland are warning their citizens against traveling to the U.S. They cite the risk of arbitrary detention. Experts estimate that tourism to the U.S. will tank by $22 billion. So my question to you is this. If Europe and Canada are warning their citizens against traveling to the U.S., do you really think this is the right time to risk traveling internationally if you have a green card or a visa in the U.S.? Let me know in the comments below.
If you are not a US citizen, don't come to this country. If you are here and you're not a US citizen, I don't care what kind of documentation you have, and I don't care how long you're staying, whether it's for a week or years, go. If you can go, go. And I know this is what they want, and I hate it because I love to be like, resist. But ending up in an ICE detention facility is not an act of resistance. And it does not matter if you are white passing. It does not matter how smart you are or what you're contributing, or if you're just visiting and you're a tourist. Don't. It's not safe here. We're not safe. They are detaining U.S. citizens. They are detaining tourists. There was a 28-year-old backpacker, a young woman, who is now in an ICE detention facility. It does not matter. If you're leaving and I can come with you, I would love that. Let me know how to do that. I have a master's degree and I'm a very nice person. I'll be very good to your country. But this ain't the place. Get out while you can. And do not send your kids here as foreign exchange students. Do not send them on a student visa. Do not think you're going to come over here and do some kind of medical residency or scientific research. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't marry somebody from here. Don't do it. We're not safe. We're not a good country. We're under authoritarian rule at this point. So, sorry about that. Fucking sucks. Bye.
Alright people, this is just a heads up. Those of you thinking, hey, we'll just swing by the US and take a look at the Grand Canyon, or I don't know, I've got a conference in DC, or I'm going to run over to California and get me some new tech ideas. Do not come. It's a trap. It is very dangerous for you right now in this country. It's dangerous for us in this country. Our speech is being censored. The reporting is all state-sponsored. We get content removed from this app constantly. They are allowed to search your phones at the border when you are leaving the country, and if they find any type of anti-Trump sentiment in your text messages, I would imagine on your TikTok account or anywhere, they can detain you and possibly do an FBI investigation into you. That has happened. So do not come here. It is very, very dangerous. As long as the orange turd is in charge, consider this an off-limit country for you, just to be safe.
They were tourists, students, professionals, many with valid paperwork, flagged for what appear to be technical or minor issues. In one case, a German green card holder was reportedly subjected to humiliating treatment, including a forced cold shower during an interrogation. In another, a British Palestinian resident with legal status now questions the safety of re-entering the country after publicly speaking on political issues. Governments are taking note. Germany recently updated its travel advisory, cautioning citizens that even a visa or waiver does not guarantee entry. The UK Foreign Office echoed that message, urging travelers to strictly comply with US entry rules, warning of the risk of arrest or detention for any breach. The concern isn't limited to paperwork. Critics argue that the current administration is using immigration enforcement not just for border security, but as a tool of political messaging, cracking down even on legal residents or visitors who have expressed dissenting views.
This is, I guess, my version of a public service announcement, but there have been a couple of incidents of tourists in America being detained by ICE and sent to some of the detention centres. For detention centres, read concentration camps, I guess. I'm not laughing, I just can't believe these words are coming out my mouth. They have wrongly been accused of being migrants and have been incarcerated in detention centres. One of them, a German tourist named Jessica Broch, has been there since, I think it's February the 2nd. She's a German tourist, so her family are aware and are currently trying to get her released. She apparently doesn't seem too bothered about, she knows she's going to be released basically, but it's not great, is it? I mean, it's not great. She's literally been there about getting on for 2 weeks. She went to visit her friend in America. They travelled down to Tijuana, like a lot of people do, and then on their way back, coming through the border, she was detained and taken away to a detention camp. And so I guess what I'm doing this service announcement for is, if you are travelling to America, please keep your details on you, your identification on you, your travel visa on you, whatever you need to keep on you. Keep a phone on you. Make sure that you have the British or whichever country you're from consulate's number in your phone before you travel. I mean, it is literally ridiculous that I'm saying these things. It's like talking about 1930s Germany, but innocent tourists, as well as innocent migrants, are being detained in these sea camps. And whether they're released or not at the end, they shouldn't be there in the first place. Definitely not for nearly 2 weeks. Please be very, very, very careful if you're travelling to the United States.
The British government has put out an advisory notice against visiting the United States right now. And we had some friends who were supposed to visit in April from England, and they just canceled their trip because they really are that concerned about coming here and what might happen to them if they might be whisked away to a random government facility for two weeks to a month with no explanation if something goes wrong with their paperwork, or if whoever is looking at their paperwork decides that they don't like the look of it. On a lot of the articles I'm seeing around all of this, there are a lot of comments that are like, well, if they just did their paperwork right, this wouldn't be a problem. But as someone who lived abroad for 8 to 9 years, as an immigrant, not even as a tourist, I can tell you I've been traveling in flux with visas, all sorts of different things. And I've never, ever had to be concerned whether or not I was going to be detained if my paperwork wasn't right. Like, that was never a thought in England. It was never a thought when I transferred from a student visa to a marriage visa, in between, not traveling, whatever. No, I traveled because I didn't have a fear that I was going to be basically kidnapped if someone didn't like the look of my paperwork, or if I made a mistake, or if something had gone wrong. I could have just gotten on a flight back to the US if I really needed to, or somewhere else. Nothing about this is normal. I also don't believe that all these cases of these people being detained by ICE, all these tourists, I don't think they did anything wrong, actually. So I went to Mexico recently, and I remembered actually in that process how specific they are with not losing particular pieces of paper and forms that they give you when you enter the country. And I've never lost those forms. But with all of the American tourism in Mexico, I cannot imagine that no one has ever lost that form. And do they just disappear tourists and hold them in detention centers if that were to happen, if a mistake with their paperwork happens? I don't think so, right? And it would be a huge outcry if that did happen. All the same commentators who are saying that if they didn't make a mistake, this wouldn't have happened to them, would be saying how messed up that is if it was the reverse. And it's not the reverse, right? So, just a thought.
Do not travel to the US right now. This is literally what every single video on my For You page is telling me to do, or what not to do rather. But I literally have flights booked for May. And no, not for leisure. I mean, I guess kind of. But basically my mum lives in America. And I literally said to her about a month ago when we booked my flights, I said to her, I'm really, really, really not comfortable with coming. I don't feel good right now about the US. I really don't want to be there, to be honest. And then I also said to her, I've been seeing videos, and not very many, but a few videos about tourists getting like detained. I also spoke to her about the fact that green card holders were getting detained, but she sort of put like an end to my nerves and said, you know, like, I really want you to come, like, I want you to see my new flat, like that kind of thing. And I felt really bad, obviously, because I want to go and see my mum and I want to go and like see her life and whatever. But I had a big old conversation with her where I was like, I don't feel safe. Like, I truly, truly do not feel safe there. And if I were to be safe there when I was traveling, it would be because of privilege, and that makes me feel sick. And now my entire For You page is Americans saying stay the fuck out of the US because they are literally detaining and questioning tourists now. And more than that, they are checking their social media. And if you know anything about my social media presence, you know that I don't take kindly, I guess, on the US, particularly the new fascistic regime. So it's just making me even more nervous to travel, like, and don't even get me started on the air traffic control staff, like all the planes coming down. And like, it's not exactly like I have a very white name. Marlene Sachdeva Masson doesn't really give like, yeah, white British. And then it would literally just take one singular Google search to see that I don't like them. One singular Google search will show them that I stand for a free Palestine. So God knows, if on the off chance I was to be detained, like, it's not looking good for me, basically. But obviously I have this trip planned, and I'm not trying to like censor myself in any of this, but I'm just like expressing the very real like fears of a tourist coming into the US right now, and how this is not what a tourist should be feeling going into a supposedly free country with free speech. My valid criticisms of their very awful government should not stop me from being able to come and visit for whatever reason. Not that I particularly want to right now, let's be very fucking clear. But I guess also if anyone who has made it to the end of this video wants to offer me some advice, I'm thinking I'm just going to delete my social media off my phone for the duration of my trip there. I'm only there for like a week, so might be a nice detox as well. But like, it's not great, is it? You shouldn't have to do that.
While the United States remains home to millions who oppose these policies, and who depend on tourism for their livelihood, more and more travelers are asking themselves, is it worth the risk? The US government is not the same as the American people, but your passport may not make that distinction at the border. For many, the calculus is changing, and the safest travel decision may simply be to go elsewhere.